Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is Monday, the 16th of March. It is day 75 of the year. Good morning. How are you feeling? Hopefully you woke up well rested and you had a nice restful and relaxing weekend. As I said, it's day 75 of the year. 75 days have already passed in 2026. Isn't that amazing? And on day 75 in 365 Tao by Deng Ming Tao, our word for today is breakthrough. So it's going to be an interesting reading today on this Monday morning to see what breakthroughs we're going to discuss in the book today. So find a nice, quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while you do this practice, this 1% of your day of reading from the book and writing in your physical journal. So get your journal and something to write with ready. Open up your books to page 75. Be present here and now. Remember that can be achieved at any time by focusing on your breath with a longer exhale than your inhale to send a little message to yourself that it's time to relax and be here and be present. If you can be outside or close to being outside like I am right now by a window, watching the natural world wake up. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Veliko Tarnovo in Bulgaria, so hopefully it's going to be beautiful wherever you are as well. Let's start reading on day 75. Our subject today is breakthrough. Lake shadows color of cold, willow branches weep ice, swan rises, dazzling in the sunlight. After long self-cultivation, one's accumulated energy reaches a threshold and then bursts out full, breathing, and vibrant. Without the careful building of momentum, this moment of release would never have been possible. With long years of preparation and experience, the freeing of the soul will not be mere dissipation, but will be so strongly focused that it lifts one into a higher state of awareness. When one's spiritual energy emerges, it feels like a swan rising from the water. That's a beautiful metaphor, thinking of a swan, majestic and elegant and graceful, like rising from the water. And as it says here, long periods of self-cultivation. And this is, again, piggybacking on what we were speaking about yesterday, how important it is to be patient, that good things take time. You might not see the results every single day because they're small and they're compounding, but over time you will see the results. And that's what this passage is all about. With long years of preparation and experience, the freeing of the soul won't be just like dissipation. It will be a strongly focused that lifts one into a higher state of awareness. And that's what we're doing here. We're building momentum. We're building a daily practice. We're doing 1% every single day, just 15 minutes. And you might not see every single day. You might not feel like anything's happening. But you've been doing this for 75 days now, 75 days out of this year. So if you think back to where you started on day 1 to where you are now on day 75, that's probably a big difference. But if you were taking notes of every single day and trying to track it every single day and you weren't being patient, you wouldn't notice it as much. So that's something that we can think about as well. Think about where you were on day 1 and think about where you are on day 75. Let's continue. Once you have reached this level of stored energy, you will be a different person. On one hand, you may take genuine comfort in the point of attainment that you have made. On the other hand, you now see all the other possibilities that remain for you to explore. With the emergence of great possibilities comes the need for responsibility. If you diverge from your life's path in order to explore new vistas, remember how far you are flying and remember to return at the proper times. Only you can decide how to arrange your life. Ooh, I love that. I'm going to reread it. Only you can decide how to arrange your life. Take a moment to think about that. Once you are a strong flyer, you must still use wisdom to direct your flight. I love this passage, and this last paragraph especially is wonderful. As it says, only you can decide how to arrange your life, but previous to that, it says, when you have all these possibilities, when you're in this process of self-actualization, self-improvement, working on yourself, being a better version of yourself, it's kind of like levels, right? And you might hear people saying you're leveling up. You're gradually making, you're building on what you did before, It's a slow, gradual process of improvement. And that's what life's all about, right? So when you get to these levels, as it says here, that you have to take some responsibility too. You can't just be like, whoa, and just go for it and not really have a plan. You have to be like a little cautious about what you do, not a sense of being like hesitant or stepping back or being afraid, but understanding that there's responsibility that comes with each of these levels. And it says here, you need to remember how far you're flying and remember to return at the proper times. So as you're taking these levels up, as you're making these steps, make sure that you're prepared for it. You know what's coming ahead. It's like for example, if you're flying in a plane, before the pilot leaves, he knows exactly where his destination is and how much fuel that plane needs to get there. So kind of as it says here with flying, kind of use that as your metaphor. Okay, what's my destination and how much fuel am I going to need to get there? You wouldn't just get in a plane and just start flying without checking that important information. And that's what it says here. As you're going forward and as you're making this momentum and as you're moving, that can be very exciting, but don't get so wrapped up in the excitement that you lose track of the important details. And as it says here, remember how far you're going and return at the proper time. So yes, go ahead. Yes, make the best version of yourself. Yes, work on self-improvement, but also do it in a way where you're being responsible for the actions that you're taking and make sure that you're taking care of the basics while you're doing it. So this is a really beautiful passage this morning for motivation, about working on yourself, about reflecting on how far you've come already just in this practice that we've been doing together for the last 75 days of this year. Take a few moments to think about where you were when you started out. And this is the wonderful thing about journaling. You can go back through your journal and have a look on day one. Where were you at on day one? And have a read through where you were at with life, what you were writing about, perhaps what some of your thoughts were, and then reflect to now, 75 days later. You might notice some big improvements. You might notice some positive changes. You might look at something that was bothering you 75 days ago that you now look at and like, wow, that's not even an issue for me anymore. Well, look at the improvement I've made. I've made progress. That's the beautiful thing about journaling. It's a really wonderful way to keep track of where you are in life. And if you ever need a reminder or a little bit of encouragement about how far you've come, you can always flip back through and take note of that. So that's a wonderful thing about what we're doing here. We're working on ourselves, we're working on self-improvement, we're keeping track of what we're doing every day, and that's what self-actualization is all about, is building layer upon layer to be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can be. Because as we often say, when we are the best version of us and we put that energy out into the world, it's the best for us. Of course, it's a win situation for us, but then it's a win for everyone that encounters us because they get the best version of us too. So you get the best version of you, and everyone that you meet and interact with gets the best version as well. So it's a win-win situation. And that's what we want in life. We want it to be good for us, but good for everyone else as well. So what a beautiful way to start this new week, this Monday, this day 75 of the year. I wish you a day of breakthroughs and enjoy your journaling practice this morning. Take a little time to go back and see how far you've come and give yourself a pat on the back about the improvements and the positive changes you're making for your life. Thank you so much for being here for 75 days, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Bye.